hello. Hello, stream. Oh, hello. That's the one I want. Hi. Hello. Serena. Come here. Can you jump up? Can you jump up? Yeah. There's my girl. There's my little lady. My little lady wee-wah. Hello, 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 hello. Hi, everybody. How are we today? I hope we're doing good. So welcome to the critique stream. We're gonna be mixing up the form a little bit today. Starting with our lovely art critiques, so like storyboards, thumbnails, pages people have submitted, and then Bones will be going over the writing portion, so like the scripts and prose and stuff. So yeah, that's why you have me first. Lear. Hi, Lear. Lear. He's asleep already. Tired. Okay. Alright. Oh, there we go. It's like chat. The website. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, one moment. One moment. Okay. Updated that link. Thanks, Charlie. Okay. Our scam description. Oh dear. I'm sorry. Thank you for taking one for the team, Sammy. Discovering that the problem with that link. Okay. Lear, I miss you. Come back to me. Hello, 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 hello. Called it out. I'm sorry. Listen. Okay. Websites is hard, alright? Okay. Oh, hey. Hey. By the way. Hold on. Hold on. We have something you should all look at. Okay? Please. Monica's upstairs in my room. Yeah. Keeping her out of trouble. Please, would you consider supporting our Kickstarter? Which, also, really great amount of backers. Sorry, no one else is allowed to back. This is the perfect amount of backers. But also, man, I think we're at halfway. Did we fund 50%? Or am I silly? Basically 50%, which is amazing. So thank you everyone who has contributed and backed the Books of Avo. But if you haven't, please consider supporting it. We would really appreciate it. It's about gay dragons and other gay people doing fantasy adventure stuff in a 1920s inspired world. Thank you. Okay. Spiel over. Okay. My goodness. How's it going? It's going good. Thank you, Mr. Hero. I'm nervous about the prose I submitted. I'm sorry, Fitz. I'm sorry we're making you wait and changing up the formula. Is the chat not updating? I'm having troubles with it. It's like it's slow. She's struggling today. She do be struggling. Yeah. Oh. Okay. I'll try and keep an eye on it and make sure it works. Okay. I'm gonna start with Kuro because I know that you are up late And I know you said you had a bunch of sugar, so you're all hyped. But yeah, I'll do yours first in case you start falling asleep. I'm nervous too, hoping for some good info. Oh my goodness. You guys are so lovely. Thank you for submitting, even though you're nervous. I know it's really tough. Being someone who has had my stuff critiqued on a stream, it is spooky. But you're awesome and you're gonna learn things and it's always gonna get better and better. Is Kuro here? Kuro? 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 I gotta leave. I have to study for finals. Oh my gosh. Good luck, Sammy. I believe in you. You got this. You're gonna ace your finals. If Kuro's not here, it's because I'm texting them right now. Wow. We're all here for each other. Exactly, Mifu. You're here. Okay. Hello, hello. Okay. Kuro, my friend. Let me just double check if you left any comments on it. Okay. Chapter 8. For Mackie roll. Certain early stages. Okay, so you're looking for critiques on the layout and the flow and stuff. So overall, I think you had a very good flow. There were lots of really fun pages that worked really well. It was easy to read. You've definitely nailed like the kind of like fast-paced, kind of quippy dialogue between all the characters. Like it really feels like they're like a team. And they all get along, and yeah, it's just really fun. The pacing works really well, I think. Even though you said that like it's still in an early stage, it's all pretty easy to understand what's going on. Yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, so I think layout-wise, there's some like little nitpicks I have here and there. Imposter sus. I was realizing I say Kuro, but would it be pronounced Kuroi? Kuroi? Am I right? If it's based off Chloe? Anyways. Yeah. So a few little things. There were a couple places where I thought let me find the example in particular, because there was like one page where I was thinking about it. Yeah, here. So you have this really fun part where he's doing the like the wall brace to do the handstand, and then he like flips. You had it the first time? Okay. Right. So yeah, I really like the sequence. I think you do a good job like showing like using the wall as kind of like a panel, and then showing him like going up the wall and then bracing and then going too far and starting to fall. And I think it works really well. Layout wise, comedic wise, it's really great. I think though, be careful when you're doing this. So a joke like this, where you're showing the same scene basically like chopped up to show like really small increments of time, keep it a similar like position and size wise as possible. So I'm noticing like here it starts where we get like a nice full body, and then he gets a little bigger in the second panel, and then he's like the closest up in the third panel. So just be careful to make sure they're all the same size, it's the same angle, even the same like panel width, just to kind of show like, for one, I'd like to see the full body so you can see like the comedy of the move going wrong, but also yeah, just keeping it consistent so you can see like that it's all the same. And I think it'll hit your your joke better that way. So yeah, so some things like that. Otherwise, I think you did a good job. Like, I really liked showing off like the different like exercise moves and stuff and practices and stuff. Like, I can tell some of these are like I noticed here on this page that they looked very structured and referenced, and that's awesome. And I love to see it. But yeah, lots of really good paneling with showing how it works, and it's still fun. They will be the same. Don't know why I assumed the more I drew it. Fair, fair, fair. Yeah, I was also very proud of you for at the end when you had all those panels of like a billion characters. I wish you luck. That's a very brave choice. But yeah, I'm proud of you for doing that. Yeah, I really liked this part. Let me zoom out a bit. Where you had the two kind of pages split with him trying to do the handstand. I thought that was some really nice paneling work. And there's been a few places where you've used some kind of like interesting like transitions and cuts between things. Zoom in enhance. But yeah, really great work here. I thought that was a nice way to kind of like chop these two pages. One little thing here. So one thing to keep in mind, I didn't notice any like egregious issues with it throughout. The one that stood out was here. So with your pages, it's good to ensure as like a good rule of thumb that each page has like a point to it. So like there's one thing you're trying to get across. So like for example, so for example, this page where it starts with Mackie saying like, what is a PM? And then they go into it and you get like the coach being all dramatic, and then you have the other teammate giving the more like developed explanation. And then the next page is for their reactions and stuff and more back and forth. So I think that was like a really good way to show like this page has like the one idea. I noticed here on this page, you had like a joke kind of going through that got cut off between pages. So where Mackie's like to the coach, like, can you do a PM? And he's like, I could before I destroyed my knee. And then the next page, Mackie's like, is that why you walk weird? And then you get the payoff of like the teacher being annoyed. So I think that needs to be like brought up onto this page because it's connected to this thought here that you end with. And then like I know you continue on with the joke where the coach is kind of picking on Mackie because he made fun of him. But I think you could condense that onto one page. Yeah, so just making sure that you're not splitting the flow of like a joke or a scene or an idea between pages. But yeah. I think that was like the only one that really stood out to me. Otherwise, I think you do a pretty good job with like containing your ideas to like where they're supposed to be, if that makes sense. Yeah. I also like the chapter header of like the Instagram post. I think that's pretty cute. Let me just think. This page here, so I didn't notice it very much elsewhere in the chapter, but here you have two panels that are very similar stacked. They're very similar in like the panel size and the subject matter, and then you have these two call outs of like the teammate fighting and then Mackie being all hard eyes and stuff that are smaller and stacked. I'd be careful to not align things this way because it becomes very easy to look at this one, the first panel, and then go straight to the one below it when that's not actually the flow. I think you're supposed to go, if I'm correct here, like you're supposed to go to the R2 and then they keep arguing and then you go to the this panel here. Just be careful with that. By stacking them that way, it can make it seem like this is a column and then this is a column. So if I were you, I would just change either the positioning of the panels or the size of the panels. And also be careful when you do have two panels that are very similar in like the subject and the angle and stuff, like stacking them like this, it can feel kind of repetitive. So just being sure to mix it up a little bit. It's focused on max of 6 panels per page. I have to remake that page then. Yeah, I think having like an idea of like how much you want to put on a page works. I think that's a good rule of thumb, but don't be afraid to break it when you need to, because sometimes you do need less panels or more panels just for the effect of the page. And you can always reshuffle things and probably keep it within 6 if you want. I did change it a little, but not sure how. Yeah, you could do some framing. Here, let me think. Okay, so I think a good way to look at this is figure out which panel here is like your most important. So the first panel, Akemi, I think is her name. She says, "I'm not going to hurt you, relax." And then the teammate says R2. And then you want him to start working on a level 5 routine. Sorry. On a level 5 routine, he's not even done level 1 yet. And then Mackie says, "So I get to live." The teammate says nope, and Akemi says yes. So I think, yeah, so you have to pick like what's your most important piece here. Is it to say, honestly, I think your most important panel would be this third one here where he says you're trying to get him to do level 5. He's not even doing level 1 yet. I think that needs to be your focus. So you might need to maybe stretch panel 3 to be like the full width and make it a bit taller so it gets more time. And then maybe you need to move Mackie's panel here down here because it works with the little joke of them fighting. So something like that. So it'd be like 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, that kind of thing. That's just one way you could change it. There's lots of other ways to do. I shared what I got for it so far. Oh, because you made changes. Hold on. It ended up like this. Okay, so I think your effects here of him like sliding into the panel do help with it not being considered like the same. I think these are a bit too close. I'd honestly make this a bit smaller. Yeah, it might not be an issue for this page. It might be something to just, like, keep an eye on in the future. I can make it bigger. I felt the text was too small in it anyways. Yeah, I think that might be a good idea. But I think the layouts within the panels are probably fine. Hopefully that all makes sense. Okay, so I think that covers everything. I think you did a good job overall. Like I said, lots of good paneling choices, pretty good flow, easy to read. Was there anything else you were wondering about? There goes Bones. Well, in the meantime, Wolcrow is coming up with ideas or questions or whatever. Who would like to go next? Because we have Nat, we have... Is it Mifu? Yeah, Mifu and Pigment. So whoever of you three would like to go next, let me know. Okay, do the backgrounds fit? I think so. I didn't see anything that stood out as not fitting, so that probably means they fit really well. Yeah, I liked in a lot of places where you integrated kind of the background and the paneling when they're doing like the little workout routine stuff, and the different move sets and stuff. So I think that was a really nice touch. But yeah, I think you're doing a good job with integrating characters into the background. The one to be careful about would maybe be this third panel here, where like I know Mackie's supposed to be is Mackie supposed to be kind of short? Am I making that up? Anyways, this door feels like it was made for Mackie, and then his teammate shows up and the door seems really small compared to the teammate, so that might be a scaling thing, but otherwise I think you do a very good job of like fitting characters into the backgrounds. Oh, true. Okay, so now we'll do yours last then, because yeah, Bones will do feedback on yours and then move on to the other writing. Okay. He's under 5 feet. Okay. So I think in that case, that door is too short. So I think it needs to be, you need to scale down this vending machine and Mackie so that the door is like tall. I'd honestly make like the door taller than the vending machine. How tall are vending machines? I guess it depends on the one. I drew the door with Mackie as the height guide, so that's probably why. Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah, so I think there's just a couple little things to look out for, but overall I think you did a really good job with the backgrounds. Was there anything else? Also, I think, yeah, so I'll do Pigments next, and then Mifu, and then Nat, and hopefully that works out. That's all. Thanks so much. No problem. Thank you for submitting. Make sure to go to bed. Get lots of sleep. I know it's late where you are. Okay, Pigment. Okay, so here's the next pages of my comic. Okay, so just looking for general critique stuff. So, overall, I think you had lots of lovely paneling. Again, I really liked the magic stuff. It all felt very clear. It's 11:55 p.m., not that late. Okay, I thought it was later than that. I thought it was like 1 a.m. Sammy, you're supposed to be studying. Anyways, yes. So yeah, I really like the magic effects that you were using. I especially like this page here where they turn into a little lizard. I thought that was really cute. But yeah, anyways, lots of good magic-y stuff. Is it possible I could go after Nat does? Yeah, for sure. Lizard! Agreed. Okay. But yeah, lots of cool, good magic effects. I really liked the part later where they're looking at the poster and then they see their soulmate in it. I thought that was like a fun little trick. Yes. Yeah. Lots of good stuff there. Love the bear. By the way, the way you draw animals is so cute. Little beardy draken, yes. But yeah, really great magic stuff. Very good paneling overall, like I said. I think you do a very good job of like showing the character in the scene. Like, I think you've got a very good sense of like following a character through space. So like, for example, like I really liked the transition of like them running through this forest path and then being here in this clearing where they do the, you know, their magic stuff. Yeah, I think it's just little things of like you show them going this way and then in the next panel they're facing like the same direction. And yeah, just very good like context clues of like where the characters are. Things feel very like fluid. Yeah, really good stuff. Same with like this transformation where we, you know, we're not flipping around. Everything is very consistent about where the characters are. I think that's awesome. Yeah, really great work with that. And you're very consistent with it throughout the comic. There are a couple places with transitionary kind of scenes where I think you can cut back on some of the panels you're using. The first one was here that stood out to me where they come to the library, they drop off a book, and then we show them going into the library. You could probably turn this into one panel where you see them dropping off the book as they're stepping into the doorway, for example, or we could just show them dropping off the book and then we switch to the classroom and we can kind of inference like, okay, this is in the library. You don't always have to show them like going into a building. Yeah, don't be afraid to like skip little details like that. By doing an establishing shot of the library and then showing an interior, it's intuitive that they're inside the library giving this talk. Yeah, and there was another place, forget where it was, that was similar. That shows them leaving. I can't remember where, but oh, I think it was here actually. So when they're leaving the library, I think if I'm not mistaken, I feel like you're trying to show because you have this panel of them saying goodbye to the kids that they were teaching and then they go off on their own. I think you're trying to show maybe like separation or loneliness, something like that. I think it could still be condensed though. I think you'd be fine keeping this section, but I think it's just something to keep in mind for maybe next time is like, you can show you could probably show the similar feeling. Maybe this isn't the best example, but I digress. I think you're okay to condense some panels here and there. The other thing I found... Okay, so I really enjoyed this section where we get some of the world building and we show like through this like history class that they're teaching that we see like a bit of an explanation about some of the magic. I got a bit worried making sure it's clear. That's fair. It can definitely be like a line to walk where, yeah, you don't want to be so... You don't want to like... No, I get what you mean. You want it to be clear that like they're going off on their own, or like they've gone into this building. Yeah, it's a hard balance. I would recommend look at media you enjoy. It can be comics you like, it can be even like movies, shows, other visual media. Just look into how they will show something, because I can guarantee that they won't okay, well, I mean, in something like film, they have more time to show kind of more detailed aspects because they have motion and it goes by quicker. But like, I mean, they can show a lot of visual information in a very short time span. Where with comics we're showing stills of moments. But anyways, yeah, I can guarantee that looking at that when they do a transition between things, they won't always show like person leaves, or you see the person walk into the building. Yeah, I'd do some looking around and see what other people do to get a kind of a sense of that balance. But I think because you do have like such a good sense of like space, I think you are putting like the right amount of focus into making sure that things are clear. Ah, YouTube, you jerk. Yeah, YouTube notifications are not great. A very cinematic mind. I'll have to look at some of my manga. Yeah, because you have less time to show a lot of information. So yeah, you really do have to be careful about like what you choose to show. Sometimes, yeah, when you do come from looking at say like animation and cinema, you can be, it's really tempting to put in like a lot of detail, but you don't necessarily need it. There's a lot of motion that can be condensed into like a single panel. In comics, it's very interesting. You can show, say, like multiple characters doing, multiple images of the same character in a single panel doing something, and it shows like motion. Sometimes opening a door is important to a scene and needs to be focused on. Other times it doesn't need to be shown. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. It's very important to kind of choose what's focused on. For example, yeah, showing a door would be important if I mean, there's lots of different ways to do it. You could show like a focus on them going into a room if say they come back and that door is locked, or it's like, I don't know, an apartment where you need to show like the number of the apartment for some significant reason. But anyways, yeah, exactly. You can use it to build up suspense. It can also be important for showing where a character is in the scene. But anyways, yeah, it's something to consider. but I'm always a supporter of like cutting down your panels to only what is necessary, if that makes sense. For one, it saves you time drawing because you won't be drawing as many panels. But anyways, so going into this history lesson, I did like how you showed everything visually. I especially liked this early portion where we see like the creation kind of story, and like I love this panel of like showing the world being split in half. I thought that was really great. I think there's a couple places where you could make the paneling kind of more like, I'm trying to think of the word, like do something a bit more dynamic. I specifically am thinking about the introduction of like the different gods and goddesses. You could do some interesting stuff with like having the deities like emerging from the panels, doing some interesting like frames around the panels, or some like background information. It just feels very stiff. Like I like how all of them have very like specific poses that show kind of like their personality. But I think you could do something to like spruce it up a bit, if that makes sense. Currently they just feel very compositionally, each of these panels feels very flat. So they're just in the center of the panel. We have the centered text above them. Some panel personification going on. Yeah, exactly. Admittedly, you could be bringing in some background elements that would kind of bring some more dynamicness into here. But yeah, but play around with like maybe turning these into close-ups, and then we only see like them from, I don't know, up here, and then we get kind of like a more kind of like portraits of them. I don't know, or making like an ornate frame and kind of putting them inside. I am not sure what would work, but go quirky, exactly. Cause down here compositionally, like these are all great. Like I love like showing the gods like interacting with the world. Yeah, like get a good feel of like who they are. I don't know like where your story is going, like if they're gonna show up more in the story, maybe you can kind of like sprinkle some hints of that into here. But you know, if they don't show up, then I don't know. But but yeah, play around with it because you do a great job elsewhere in the this like history stuff. I also think for this page in particular, where you're talking about the kind of reincarnation kind of magic stuff that goes on with them, you can either like become a regular human or you can become a variant. Because like it is a cycle, I wonder if you could turn this page into like a cycle. Like I understand breaking it up into two here because you are showing like they can become this and then turn into this, or they can be this and then turn into this. But I wonder if you could make it circular to kind of bring back that the cycle kind of idea. Yeah, something to keep in mind. Yes. Yes, yes. And I loved the title drop. That was fun. I think everyone should make their comics more cringe for me. Charlie, get out of here. Yeah. I think that was the big stuff. Oh, actually. I think during this fight scene with this character, for the life of me I can't remember their name. But I think, for example, this panel here, don't be afraid to have things overlap. So for example, like there's a bit of a spatial illusion thing going on where this feels the barrel of the minigun feels like it's right beside their head when it feels like it's pointing past them and not at them. So I think Lilith, that's her name. So yeah, it feels like Lilith is pointing the minigun past them and not like at them. So I would overlap them here, for example. And yeah, don't be afraid to have items overlap like that. Yeah, and I also think with this panel here, I think you need to put a bit more emphasis on the line of motion in this page in particular. So I like how you have the wind up of the kick here, but I find, how do I explain it? So you have this kind of arc going on with their kick. So it starts from like their leg here up to the leg they're kicking with. And then what you'd want to kind of emphasize that motion and really make the impact like feel impactful. You'd want Lilith's position to arc with the same motion. So like if you kept her head here to show like the kick connects with her head, you'd want like her body, instead of going kind of straight down like this, you'd want it to arc the same way. So yeah, so I think because she's kind of standing straight, like she's staggering back a little bit, but because she's standing straight up, it kind of lessens the motion going on, and it doesn't feel like it quite connects with her falling, because you've got some great motion going on with her fall, because like it really feels like the end of that arc from the kick where you see her fall like this. And yeah, it's got some great motion and dynamicness to it. So yeah. So that is my nitpick for this action scene. But yeah, but otherwise works together great. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, did you have any questions about it? Anything I didn't cover, or questions about anything I said? I love this bear. I love her bear form. Sorry, their bear form. Yeah, especially with action scenes, like don't be afraid to kind of push the motion, and like it might like look kind of wonky. Cuz like actual action, like an actual fight like that is not as dynamic as like it is drawn in a comic. Covered everything? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for submitting. Okay, so next was Mifu. My friend. Okay. Let me just check if you had any notes. Okay, so thumbnails for the first half of my comic, The Lady of the Wood. Okay, it's a fairy tale-like story about a forest guardian's caretaker stumbling onto an intruder in their small patch of peaceful forest. It's my first go at a scrolling comic. Any tips and feedback are super welcome. I'm kind of winging it. What a mood. General feedback on flow, clarity, panel transitions. Okay. Yeah, no worries about the blurriness. I figured these were just sketches or thumbnails. Awesome. Okay, so first off, I think you've done a very good job with this scrolling comic. You've done a lot of really cool kind of like flowy transition-y stuff. For example, I really like this what you've done with the typography with like the lady's hair kind of like turning into the title. I think that's really nice and kind of interweaving with the background and landscape, like mwah, so good. But yeah, I think you did a very good job with the scrolling aspect. The panels feel very dynamic. There's lots of good flow between them. Yeah, you use a lot of kind of background elements, especially to kind of really help bring us through the paneling, which is really cool. As well as like, you know, the way the composition is and how the characters are sorry, the way the characters are positioned and the compositions also help with the flow, but I really like the way you've used background elements in particular with this one. The only thing I would say about the composition, I find some of them feel very close in, if that makes sense. It's not everywhere. Because you have lots of great spots where you have you have very good use of using like pulled out shots and close-up shots. You have some small panels and some larger panels, and you use the vertical space very well. But I find there's some places where it feels like kind of tucked in a little bit too close. Like I understand some places like like here, for example, you're showing kind of the scale between the lady and oh my gosh, I can't remember. Fig. Sorry, Fig's the character's name. So yeah, the difference between the lady and Fig in their size. So I understand it being like cropped a little close on the lady's face. But I find, I also really like this where you're looking down at Fig. I think that's a really cute panel and shows the kind of size difference really well. But yeah, for example, here where we're showing the flower crown, it feels like a little bit too tight on the lady. Where like if it was pulled out a little bit, I feel like we could focus more on the flowers and her face and stuff. And yeah, so I think that's just something to keep in mind. There's a couple of panels throughout where it feels like you could pull it out a little bit more and give it a bit more breathing room, like on the left and right sides. But it's not all your panels. Lots of them are very lovely and have the correct breathing room. Yeah, really great expression, very clear storytelling. I really like the use of scale with all the characters. Like I love when the intruder shows up and it's just he just like towers over Fig. Like it's such a good panel. Like lovely stuff. Yeah, I also really liked how, for example, here where you use the shape of the panel to kind of accentuate the impact and show him like hitting up against this intruder. I noticed that too once I blew it up to the full scroll. Good to have it confirmed. Yeah. Sometimes it can definitely, once you like put it into where it's meant to be, it can really kind of show us the intruder. All right, I'll show you the intruder. Where is he? Where's a good panel? He's like up here. That's his head. There's a little Fig down here. I love it. Never mind, he's inside my home. Correct. Yeah. Look at this guy. Love him. Okay. The scale dynamics are working well. They are. You do a really good job of showing, like, just how massive this intruder is and how small Fig is. Yeah. I think one thing to look out for... I noticed it down here at the bottom where the intruder attacks. It might just be because it's like thumbnail size, but I was a little confused by like the paneling here where like he materializes a weapon. That's the thing. I can't really tell if he's like grabbing a weapon off his back or if he's like summoning a weapon. Because we go from showing like the inside of his palm and then the hand is flipped. It could just be because it's like so low fidelity right now that like can't really tell what's going on, but that's something to keep in mind. And I think it could be like pulled out a little bit just to get that clarity. But once the action begins, like it feels pretty clear about what's going on. He's grabbing a spear off his back. Okay, in that case, I think it would be a good idea to pull out a little bit. Let me see. Yeah. Trying to picture. Because I'm sure you can show the spear visually previously, like in these past panels, especially here where he's like towering over him. Love this panel, by the way. Yeah, I think you can do a close-up of this hand, but I think here we need a bit more visual information, like maybe even just like scaling it down just like a tiny bit so we can see maybe like more definition of the helmet. It might even help too to pull this out a bit where he's slashing at Fig. Yeah, I might even play around with flipping these two panels where we see like looking up at the knight and then the slash down at Fig and maybe pull out a little bit so we get more of like a full body of the knight slashing at Fig. Like I do like how you have this close-up showing like the fear. I think that even doing like maybe a call out of like a close-up expression as well as like showing the slash. An interesting way to like show motion being really impactful can be to show almost like the same strike twice. So you can show like the knight like slashing down. You might even see it striking Fig or about to strike. Then you can show Fig's expression. You can even show like the hand and spear where it is here, where you can see like the slash happening. And then show this, like him looking down, because I think this is very impactful. But anyways, yeah, play around with that a little bit, because you could create even more of that kind of like oomph to this moment. I'm curious to see this on a phone since that's what vertical format is made for. Yeah, that too, that too. Make sure to test on your phone. Yeah. yeah, overall, I think you've done a really great job with this. Do you have any questions? Or anything, any questions about what I've said, or is there anything I haven't covered that you'd like talked about? This is good and detailed. Awesome. I'm working on the second half where there's more action. If you have general tips for that. Yeah, for action, it's very important to... It's similar to, like, what I was saying for Kuro's comic, where you're showing... let's see. Let me grab the example. Yeah, so for example, like here where we're showing the character try to do the handstand, like it's very important to show the whole body. Not for everything, like you don't want it all to be like pulled out shots. But it's very important to show like clarity of like position and clarity of movement. Actually, in fact, Pigment did a really good job here. So we see some close-ups of, like, say, like, the wind-up to a kick. But then we see the kick land. We see the character, like, falling. You could put in more stuff of, like, reactions. Like, you could show, like, her getting kicked in the head. You could see, like, her reaction, like, getting stunned. And then her falling. Then you can show, like, the aftermath. But... it's totally up to you. It depends on what tone you're going for. But yeah, definitely be like as clear as you can silhouette-wise for like important pieces of information. Don't flip the camera around too much. It can be easy to like lose track of what's going on when you do that. Yeah, and a great thing about action is you can really use the motion to really carry the flow of the page. So you can have a character like slashing a sword, like lead you to the next panel, for example. Yeah, it's really just kind of choosing what's the most important. If you have two characters sword fighting, like what's the most important part of this fight that needs to be shown? Is it like each time they swing their sword they miss, so we show like multiple panels of them missing, and then I don't know, it totally depends on the action scene. But yeah, yeah, I think you have a very good grasp on like composition and flow, so I think you just need to make sure to like lean into that with your action, and just make sure that your action is clear, and save close-ups for example, like showing the wind-up for something, or showing a character's reaction. You can do like a big panel of them throwing a punch, and then a little panel of like the punch hitting, and then a little panel of them reacting, and then, you know, there's so many different ways to do it. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. I'm curious about how it'll work in the vertical format, because a lot of what you're doing, you want it to like bring the reader down through the page. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you can do. Heck yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Mifu, for submitting. Okay, so let's look at Nat. Is Nat here? Did not say they'd be here. Oh wait, Nat is literally here. I talked to you. I'm sorry. Okay. Nat, my friend. Okay, so first off, love the opening to this chapter. So cool. I really liked the opening to this. It's very impactful. Again, you have really great like paneling choices. You do action like super well. You do a really great job of like showing what information is like really important, and I think you do a good job of what am I saying here? Of like highlighting like the man, what am I saying here? I'm sorry. Here, for example, this page. I love how you show is it Allie? Yeah, Allie. Or sorry, Aaliyah. You show Aaliyah like gritting her teeth and then saying like, yeah, I'm gonna prove them wrong. And I love like the swing back of her hand, and then you see her hand extend and you see her hand is crumbling and you're like, what the heck? And yeah, just really great flow and highlighting what needs to be highlighted. Really great panel work as always. Sending Ursula brain cells, please. I need them. Please donate me some brain cells. If you have some to spare. Yeah. The only thing I'm not sure about, because I'm not sure kind of what direction is coming next. Where I'm not sure if the opponent has the right amount of focus. Because I know this is like a nightmare kind of flashback of like the last competition. Because I like this panel here where you see her like with her creations and you can see her hand is damaged and stuff. And the opponent is very like positioned to be kind of large. The thing is like to look intimidating. I also like how you have this kind of like fisheye lens kind of thing going here. I might push it further, like make the opponent even bigger so they cover like the bottom of the panel pretty fully. But it depends on what you're going for. So, because I know a large part of like her story is like the pressure of expectations, and like feeling like inadequate about her magic and stuff. But I wonder, I guess my question is like, will this opponent be showing up again? Are they the cause of the hand crumbling? I don't think so. Like they don't, in the way you've kind of paneled things, it doesn't feel like the opponent is like really the issue. So if the opponent had something to do with like her losing confidence or like her struggles with her magic, I would make them seem like really big and imposing like I just suggested. And same here in this panel where they're facing off, like make the opponent look really fierce. But if you're not and you're just focusing on like her mental state and he will show up again in the next competition. Okay. So in that case, I would make him a bit more imposing and shadowy if he's gonna be like an element that like brings her fear or anxiety or self-doubt later in the story. And if that's not like a big point in the story, I would like make him smaller, or the hand is more her fault though. Okay. Yeah, I think it depends on like kind of where you're going with it, because you can make, yeah, so if he's not the cause of her hand breaking and it's more her fault, like I might give him even like less focus, like make him smaller or obscured. I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. Because he feels very neutral in this scene. Yeah, so making him farther away, obscuring him. Yeah. So play with it how you think it'll work depending on your story. It would be smaller in that case. Yeah, so you could turn, so this panel, for example, like yeah, I'd make him smaller so he feels like kind of less imposing, for example, or make him a silhouette, something like that. And then for this panel, maybe like skew the perspective so that she's very, yeah, I figured it's more about like the inner conflict, because that's been her thing through the story already. But yeah, maybe make it more dynamic so you have like more focus on her, maybe have some like leading lines coming towards her. You could turn this into one panel and he could be kind of like a foreground element, or a background element, if you know what I mean. Like he, like, say you had it in perspective where, like, 1 point perspective, she's the focus of it, everything is kind of leading away from her, and then he could be just kind of like a silhouette in the foreground, kind of here, if that makes sense. That's one possibility. Obviously, if you have other vision, don't let me skew it for you. Yeah. But anyways, so that was my one gripe about this wonderful first scene. But yeah, really, really great. I loved the yeah, sorry, let me go on. I loved the little moments between the characters. Like I love when the like I love the fighting between the contestants. I love when they have this like little moment of like making fun of their friend, and then they like almost kind of have like a makeup moment, and then they're like grumpy and angry and still hurt and stuff. It's really nice. Really great character stuff. Yeah, and I also loved the set piece for the competition. Like I love this first challenge. It's just very visually striking to show like all the pods like going up and stuff. And it creates like a lot of tension for like what's gonna happen. And I think it does kind of help keep it concrete with like her getting hurt in the last competition like was due to her magic, because they clearly say like there's people in this competition who are going to make sure that none of the contestants get hurt. So yeah, I think that was like a nice little comment to leave to say, to kind of strengthen kind of what's going on with Alia. But yes, really awesome set stuff. I like how you can kind of see into the pods and see like where they are connected and stuff and interacting, and yeah, just really cool set design that I really enjoy. You're doing it good. um let me see. What am I thinking here? I will say for this scene where she notices the book, I think it needs to be kind of more out in the open. So right now, so she notices the book, right? And looks to the bird. And you definitely get like the kind of cogs going on in her brain, right? But I think the book needs to be like placed like fully in the panel, because right now it's like it's off the edge of the panel. So I would maybe like shift it around so that it's like I guess like more clearly in here. So you could put it like right here, for example. You could change the way the panel is. I'm not sure what you want to do with it, but yeah, just pull it more into focus. You could also play around with like adding more panels. So you could show her looking like alarmed and then seeing the what am I thinking? Yeah, you could show like her looking alarmed, and then you see a close-up of the book, and then you see a close-up of the bird and her looking at the bird. It depends on what you want to do, but I think the book just needs like a little bit more focus. Yeah. So then you don't have to rely on like a little dotted line, possibly. Yeah. That would be my recommendation. Long-time listener, first-time calling. How's everyone doing? We're doing good. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. But otherwise, like, really, really awesome stuff. Again, love the set design of the competition stuff. Yeah. Were there any questions? Oh, actually, I think there's a similar idea. So similar to the book, I think this focus needs to be pulled up a little bit. So currently the lineup of the contestants is like a little bit too close to this panel here, and I think it just needs to be like pulled up into the center, not smack dead in the middle of the center of the panel, but like pulled up away from the edge a little bit. And then this piece of dialogue can be moved like up here possibly. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Let's make sure it all has some nice breathing room. I was worried about the first event because it's an endurance test. I thought it could get boring easy. No, I think you've done a good job with like building tension for it. Yeah, I really like the different points of view where some of them are like, oh, this is boring. And then you can see Aaliyah getting nervous and like talking to herself about it and stuff. Like, I think you've done a very good job with like building tension up. And it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's overstaying its welcome or anything like that. Yeah. Do you have any questions art-wise before Bones takes the wheel? Oh my god. I can't show you guys, but Serena is cuddling Bones in the cutest way. She's like curled around him. She's under arrest. Oh, is she being bad? Oh. Wee wah. Wee wah. Okay, Bones, go get ready. Ah! Oh my god. I'm under attack. Okay. All good? Awesome. So I will vamp until Bones gets back. Yeah. Awesome work, guys. Well, thank you all for submitting some lovely comics for me to look at. Bones will be going over some comic scripts. I'll make sure that he knows that Fitz, you can go after Nat, and then yeah. If anyone else would like to figure out what order they're going in, speak up now, and I will tell Bones what to do. Yes. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Lear's coming over. Okay, so typically we would do a short form stream on Saturday. So we do this long form one today on a Thursday, and then the next one would be on the Saturday. It's being moved because not tomorrow. Saturday, Bones and I are at a convention, which will be our first convention since like before the pandemic began. So it's gonna be weird. I'm not really prepared for this. But yeah, so then the short form where we look at like illustrations and designs will be happening next Thursday. Guess I'll go last to be nice to the ones who were here first. Aw, you're sweet. I think AZ might go last because they're not here. So we'll see. We'll see. Dang, hope you have fun at your con. Thank you, Mifu. I think it'll be fun. Bye, Bones. Okay, bye. Yep.
Hello, the gays. Whoa. My hair is dumb. Hair is stupid. Who invented it? Not me. Overwhelmed. Oh my god, I'm short. One sec. Is that better? No, it's too tall. It's so hard to find, like, how small I am. Who needs hair? Exactly. Love the shirt. Thank you. What are you, my therapist? That's always what he says. He's like, oh, what a great shirt. And he's always commented on the exact same shirts. It's like, obviously, these aren't good enough shirts if you don't remember them. That or you have memory issues, I guess. I have to open up all of the files there. Wait, I just closed. I'm stupid. Okay. I didn't set up. Because I'm a hero. Okay. Because there's mouth. Not Pigment. Not Mifu. AZ will be last because they're not showing up. Fitz is first. Nat. Mechakumi. Mechanum. That's it. Okay. Alright. I'm sure Ursula already gave you so much good advice. What can I possibly even say? That's the question. How is everyone doing? Hi, hello, how are you? It was good. I liked it. I liked being able to read it this time. It was good. With the I'm talking about Nat's artwork. Ugh, my leg is itchy. It's so weird. Mika. Miku. That's my cat. Miku. I'm getting a bit nervous. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be. Just get over that. I'm joking. Okay. Right. Yeah, because I was listening to what Ursula's saying, and like I have not much else to add. Like, it's cool. I like it. I'm excited to see more. I'm itching my leg. It is so itchy. I'm so sorry. Just turn off the nervous. Exactly. That's what therapists do. like mechanics. Um yeah, I'm enjoying watching the thing unfold. Like I'm trying to remember if I had any criticism cuz like I also agree with Ursula but like the placement of the book. um Frick. Do you have any like specific questions for me? Cause like I don't really have much else to add. Nat. Cause I love the little sequence at the beginning. That was cool. And then I like getting into the event. Um yeah. I I feel like this is like a very good chapter, right, Ursula? Yeah, it was just very strong across the board. I don't really just general feedback about the story and about its flowing. Um like as far as like how the story's flowing, like I think it's good. Like there wasn't like anything that really jumped out at me. Like I feel like the pace is pretty good here and it's kind of the only issue is just the fact that like um it's just limitations within like the critique group, right? Where like I just can't see tons at once. Um cuz yeah, like I think it's paced really well and I know that because not too much happened. Like it's nicely paced. It's not like overwhelming at all. It's nice and easy to follow. It's got intrigue. Um it's got suspense and it's all moving along at a good clip. So it's just hard to hard to even it has a deer in it. Like I literally can't criticize. I'm so sorry. Like I was sitting here trying to think of things. Um okay. I think we did have that issue with preview scenes. It was too fast and overwhelming. Yeah, it wasn't too fast and it wasn't overwhelming. So like I think you're in a good flow. Yeah. I will move on because the pacing of this Bones and Ursula episode is dragging. And Ursula already gave you a lot, so I will move on to Fitz. Fitz, Exorcism, but make it gay, correct? Yeah, that's the one with Maddox. And I need to make sure to read over what you said because I have a bad habit of not paying attention to what you guys put in your little bubbly booble bop doop description. That's what that word's called. Oh, fish officer. Um. Yes, and I did read the spoiler, so I made sure to do that before. And I am scrolling the working title up. Right. Right. It's all just a matter of me remembering how to give information and talk. Did Ursula show you our cute little coaster? It looks like Lear. I'm not stalling. I'm sorry, you've been sitting here forever, and I'm probably making you anxious. But I'm just anxious too. Okay, it's anxiety provoking to be the one critiquing. It's so cute. It really looks like him. Um, it's mostly I don't want to go immediately on all the things that I dislike immediately because that's like my automatic go-to for everyone. I just tend to focus on that stuff, but I don't want to do that to people. Right. So Um, I think like the first thing that I noticed was that was anything okay? Yes, there were things that were okay. I just don't make note of them, you know? It's like if you eat a cake and it's a delicious cake, but it has like something off in it. That's what you point out. You don't point out everything that's good. Right. As I was saying, I like I liked the what is that thing called? It's not POV. Well, I guess it would be the POV intense at first. Like I thought it was kind of interesting. Like it like you have like an omniscient thing kind of going on, which I always think is pretty interesting and um not done as often. Um and like for like I found especially like in the on the first page of it, like I noticed that there was some leaning into like some good description um that was really like I remember there was a description of the leaves, yeah, and the envelope, the wax seal and all that. Like I think you did a pretty good job with description. You used some good verbs that you used some good verbs like crunched where they're more evocative verbs, which is good. I like that. Um yeah, okay. You can edit stuff later, okay? You got this. I think you did a good job at um getting Maddox's personality across, assuming I have the personality correct. Like he's um yeah, well from the start like you call him apathetic and stone-faced, right? Like and straight-laced. Like yeah, I think you got that across in the way that he acts and talks within scenes. So I think that was good. Um what's your read on him? Um Honestly, he gives me some autistic vibes. That was like the main one that stuck out to me. Um but yeah, like he just seems very or sorry, I don't pay attention to the pronouns. He. Yes, okay. He. Um yeah, he seems very focused on what he does. He gave me autistic exorcist vibes, and I think that's a great um yeah, I think yeah, you got that across. I he was very singularly focused in a very good way, and I think you got that across very well. Um I think it was especially when he was interacting with Cherub. early on that I got that. Um, yeah, write what you know. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, I like the descriptions of Cherub as well, and like getting into, like the is this the second scene? Yeah, the second scene where he comes in. Um, and he's wet and doesn't care. He's got other things on his mind. Like I liked that. Um, I hope I don't get confused because part of my problem is that a few of you sent in demon related things. Um, right. Um, I think that um I think that pace wise things moved a little too fast. Um like it wasn't like it wasn't across the board too fast though, I should say. Like I think the opening scene wasn't too bad. What do I mean by too fast? Like what specifically was too fast, Bones? Oh, I think it's that your scenes were kind of abrupt in how they would end. And I think you um yeah, I think the scenes ended like too short. Like it didn't feel like they resolved entirely. Like I understand the one that is very intentionally abrupt, where that very much works. Um like the part where it's like behind you and then it abruptly ends. Like that makes sense. Um Feel awkward adding descriptions mid scene. Yeah, you got to keep describing things. The kind of the way one way to look at writing a dialogue and getting descriptions in is like the hourglass method, where you will start with description, slowly get less description, and then slowly go back into description. So it kind of is like an hourglass in the amount of describing and interaction you get, if that makes sense. That can help you ease in and out of dialogue. What feels unresolved in the others, I can file that down for future reference. Right. Um hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to place what's missing. I just feel like there needs to be I think part of it is that you move into a very big plot thing very quickly. So it feels like we might need some more scenes and more space to feel things out before we have our interaction with the demon. Um I think that because my assumption is that this demon is going to be like a main kind of plot line, right? Like, I guess it really depends on how long the story is, too. Um, I guess the way that I would think of it and the way that I'm kind of seeing it, right, is that you're starting this story with this new character that we're learning, right? And we're getting our feet wet in something, right? And the first time that we're seeing Maddox do um, their regular job of exorcism, right? Like, this is our very first time seeing it. And the first time we see it is a very irregular occurrence for him, right? So a we don't really have an understanding of what a normal exorcism looks like. So when things go awry and different, like, I don't live in a world full of demons, so I don't really know like what the normal is, right? Like, and you the way that it's set up now, like, you tell us that this hasn't happened before, but it's not really shown to us. Like, I think it might serve you to do yeah, to do like some normal exorcism with a hint that this next one is going to occur. Like, I don't know like how it all comes together, right? Um but I would definitely like do some foreshadowing before this big event kind of occurs. Um yeah, second draft wise, I can make Maddox enter an issue on the way home. Uh yeah, like something like that could work, I think. Um I could add a scene of Maddox investigating the school in daytime, like between the first and second scene. He gets called out to do an exorcism. Yeah, that could work. Like, I think you just need to make sure to like just establish what is normal for Maddox first, because whenever you're in like a very abnormal world, especially, like, you really want to show what is normal before you go out of go into your inciting incident. I understand, like, you're not alone, Fitz. I think like most of you are very eager, myself included, to get to your inciting incident. Um, yeah. Um, and yeah, like, I think I need to know more about Maddox, as well, because we get to the scene, right, where like there's, um, the demon being very naked, and I just don't know like what is normal for Maddox in relation to reacting to a naked person, right? Because that is a very abnormal situation to get in, and Maddox has a very muted response to it, which I think could partly be like autism or not. But like if anything, like, I there needs to be some sort of setup and understanding of like what is normal for Maddox's sexuality too, right? Like, what is Maddox's opinion on flirtatious demons? Because I personally would not have reacted the way that Maddox did, and I don't think a lot of people would have. But it might be perfectly reasonable for him. I think he'll say the same thing about mine. Maybe. Um yeah, and like everything in your in the spoilered text that you wrote like about the demon names and stuff, like um I think that's stuff that you will want to set up before it shows up, right? Because we need to set up how this demon naming convention thing works before we twist it on its head. Before he's like wow, why doesn't this work? Like, we need to understand how it works. Um so yeah, like I would definitely focus on making those things clear. Um but I would love to see more, like, because whenever I give critiques on chapter 1, inevitably like I learn more about like where the story goes, and I end up thinking like you might be setting up the wrong things for the story. But yeah, there's another aspect of the story which is that Maddox is like he has some aspects of emotions sealed. Yeah, yeah, okay. Like if you get that across, then that would be fine. Like you need to like make it clear that Maddox will have very okay. You know what I'm kind of getting is like I think you did a good job at getting like the autism across, but I think you also need to get across that there's like even further emotional sealedness to him as well. Like, and those being kind of distinct entities that need to be kind of not not expounded on like tons, but just enough to understand that like the situation that happens is believable for this character. I think I could really establish more in situations where there really should be. Yes. Oh, and that kind of leads me into my opinions on the voice, the point of view, and the tense. I really liked how it started out with it being an omniscient POV. Um, Omniscient, but not necessarily like a character in and of itself. Like just the narrator had more run of the story. The narration, I guess, had a lot of distinct character rather than it being um one of your character POVs, but I find that sometime as you continue on, it slips more into a more traditional third person limited situation. Um, I'm trying to find examples of how that works. Um, like I can't find the specific times, but like the way that it started, where you would very definitively say what a character is emotionally feeling, um, whereas later you start being like they looked like they had this feeling, if that makes sense. I think adding more descriptors would help with the style staying consistent. Yeah, more descriptors, and I think you need to really commit to a POV. Like, are you speaking as a narrator, narrating these stories, or are they going to be filtered through a character POV? Because I find you shifted from like an omniscient to being in Maddox's POV, and both of those are very interesting in their own right. Like Maddox has, I think if you looked at things from Maddox's POV and described them from Maddox's POV, you would have a lot of opportunity to really expound on like how he emotionally reacts to things, and you wouldn't even need like full scenes dedicated to this. You could really get his personality across in the scenes that like occur, I guess. But that's if you want to go really close to him. The other option would be to lean into the omniscient view, in which case, like, expand on things that just expand on things. Like, you can expand on anything with omniscient, you know, because like you start by very directly saying like what kind of character he is. um was third person, which is third person personal, I forget the word, came back to this. Yeah, third person limited, I think, would be the one. Yeah, because it starts with he was an apathetic man by nature, stone-faced and straight-faced. And it's kind of a distant description. Like, I think it's partly because it is in passive voice describing someone. Um, and it's not something that would necessarily be POV from like Maddox, you know? Like it feels more distant, and that's why it gives the omniscient vibe. Um yeah. Either way, you have to you have to. A good idea would be to find a character and really describe the things that are happening, you know? Get some backstory involved, and you'll do great. Distance for the story, probably. Yeah, whatever you think will work, like, yeah, just commit to it and really lean into it, because description kind of, I don't know. Personally, I find like description always comes like as a secondary result of following like a POV. Um, I think that's all I have on that one. There's a lot of stories I need to talk about. You, if you have any questions, ask them now. And who wants to go next in the meantime? Ursula does. She gave me the thumbs up. Okay, where's Ursula's story? Ursula, this is garbage. I saw someone. It was Miku. Not Miku. I'm sorry. Your name is definitely not Miku. My cat is Miku. So and I'm dyslexic, so my brain is making them the exact same word. Not this cat. This cat's Lear. This one's Miku. Look, can you turn the light on? It's like dark. Mika. Yay. Can you get me a water bottle? Thanks. Um, I was wondering if you get the vibe from the other characters. Doesn't have to be in depth. Trying to remember. I've met so many characters today. All I know is that Nico is a little shit. That's that's what I remember. Is it Nico? I don't know. The naked man. I'm trying to judge you. I have so many naked characters. Um, the cherubs seem to be vibing, if I remember correctly. Cherub seems cooped up and vibing. That's the what I got, but I might be wrong. It's very dense right now to look over again. Okay, I will start with Mika. Not my cat. Yours was Cameron's escape? Carmen. Oh my god. I'm so fucking dyslexic. I'm sorry. I'm gonna apologize. No problem. Thanks for giving me money, Fitz. All right, T. Right. Back to being nice. Okay, we need to start on the positives here. Uh, you wrote the only type of sci-fi that I like, so we're good there. Um, because I do not like sci-fi, but this is the only type of sci-fi that I like with aliens on Earth. Just trying to vibe. It's a seesaw. Yeah. I don't know why. Like that's my favorite type of aliens. Like every time I've written sci-fi, it's been aliens come to Earth and they try and just fit in and vibe. Like that's Bug Boy, that's Space Wizards. It's basically just sci-fi. No wait, it's basically fantasy. I sorry. No. Focus. Right. So what happens? Aliens vibing. Exactly. Yeah, and I liked the new alien that showed up. I liked the Homura ass meeting where where you run up. I don't know. I like Medical Magica, right? And there's the scene where Homura goes back in time for the first time and she runs up to Madoka and she's like, "We're both magical girls and I want to help you fight," and embarrasses Madoka, and that was the exact energy of this scene that you posted that scene, and I very much enjoyed it. Like I like I like Amy. Um throwing things around, I'm sorry. How to tell the difference between second person and third person comics? Nobody knows. Can you have a second person comic? That feels more like a visual novel. Aliens vibing. Yeah, I like that. And I love the world building too. Um, I think you got a very cool world. Right. In line with vibing, I would like you to let your characters vibe a little more. Um, because you definitely did go very fast into your plot. But also too slow, I think. Was you the one who went in too slow as well as too fast? No, that was the other one. Sorry, I'm confusing everyone together. Um, I think that what I mean by let your characters vibe a bit more is the story starts very serious and then takes a very non-serious turn. And I think it's fine to have both serious and non-serious going on. Like that's good. Um like when I was reading the very first scenes where it's talking about like mental health um and like night terrors and all of that stuff. Like that stuff is good, but also it just didn't feel is it the nightmare you mean? Yeah. No, not the nightmare. Like after the nightmare. Like I think the nightmare is like good. I think that's a good place to start and a good opening. I think what my issue is that we f- we focus very heavily on the nightmare um in the morning, and we talk about the nightmare, and we talk about like um some exposition about the nightmares and about Carmen's like sleep and a little bit about midterms, but it mostly focuses around this and like the mental health aspects of things. And um just I'm just reading over. And then we go and we talk to Ethan. Oh no. We talk to Ethan, and the same kind of conversation takes place, I think. Yeah, like there's a little bit about like how tired she looks. Um it's the first time I'm trying to write in PTSD elements. No, like that's fine. I'm sorry. I'm trying to build to a point. Um I think what's missing is just like a little bit of balance. Um where we focus kind of really heavily on this one plot element, which is like this PTSD stuff and nightmares and things, which I think is very strong. But I think you can also take time to make her like a more multifaceted person. Um, because right now, like outside of like the PTSD, like we don't really get much about her as a person. And like you don't even need to get like super in depth with it, but like the backdrops for your scenes like um like it's just very kind of um bland, I guess. Like there's nothing that really sets her apart from like being like a generic like student. And I think like it's hard, like I just didn't feel like um I felt like I got like a very good sense of like her mental state, and I didn't get like a lot of sense of like her physical existence in the world. Like what does she like to do aside from not have nightmares? Um like does she have a subject that she likes in school? Um does she have does if you'd like to go back to sleep, I can have like breakfast ready by the time you wake up. Does she like a specific breakfast? Like, just I feel like if you added some very small details, um, and preferences, like that would go a long way to making her feel more like a person outside of just her mental struggles. Um how would I do that? Um so like when we're having like the conversations about midterms, right? Your midterms are coming up. I hope those don't hinder your grades. I'll be fine. I got through them last year and I was having night terrors weekly then. Like everyday activity is difficult for me. So talking about midterms, I think what I'm speaking of is kind of just specific details um that I think will shape your character. I'm not every social managing girl's hard, but I wanted to be this. I'm not very social, so making a modern day girl is hard, but I wanted to be this. Um, like I think you're doing really good, like with like her mental health stuff. Like I think you have her as a character. I just think I'm sorry, I'm just having trouble describing what I mean specifically. Um hmm. I'll try I'm gonna go look through things some more and see if I can formulate better because I want to help. And I can't do that if I'm incomprehensible. I'll share out with other activities before the plot. Um I'm not really I think your scenes are actually really good. I think I'm only talking like very specific kind of descript if it was prose, I'd be kind of talking about description, I guess. But since this is a comic, it's more like um details within the dialogue, I guess. Um like one example I could think of kind of would be like when she's talking about doing midterms. Like instead of saying I got through the midterms, um and I was having night terrors then, which is a great way to get across that plot thing. I think you could say something like, I got through midterms, even math, um, while I was, while I still, while also dealing with, like, my night terrors. Like, just something specific that says something about her, like about a preference. Like by saying that, it's like, okay, she's also bad at math. And it just would like flesh her out a little bit, like make her less blank slate. Yeah, is kind of what I'm saying. It is just to kind of pepper some more of those details in. Cause like and like there's I'll make breakfast ready by the time you wake up. Like maybe Haley could say a specific breakfast that she knows she likes, you know, in order to show that, like, you know, like, because she knows that Carmen's having a hard time and is like, okay, I'll make your favorite breakfast. Make her more of a teenager girl than an adult in lingo. Yeah, like that could work. It's also just like it's really just adding some specific details, right? It's the idea that like if you ask someone to imagine a dog, they're all gonna like imagine like a different thing, right? Whereas if you say imagine a white husky, they'll imagine something specific. Like right now she's just a teenage girl. She doesn't have like a lot of attributes aside from her mental illness. So like I just think if you have some like one-off lines throughout your dialogue, you will start creating a more kind of fleshed out character who has preferences. And then from there, like you end up with less of yeah, it's less heavy um because we have the because you have actually a kind of example is that you have Amy, right, who shows up, and Amy is really excited about all these details about the alien aspects of things and trying to learn about Carmen or whatever. Like I think Amy does a great job of like kind of expounding, and I think you give her a personality in a way. Yeah, exactly. Um like Amy has interests. Like it's very clear that Amy has like passions and interests. But right now with Carmen, we mostly just have like the night terrors, which are written well, I will say. Like I think you did a very good job getting those across. Um and I think from that point, like I think you also kind of need to slow down a little bit. Um Not in the beginning. I think you're doing pretty well up until the section where the robot shows up. I think that went a little fast for me, where it was like hard to keep up because we just got introduced to the alien thing, so it's a bit of whiplash, right? Yeah. Do you have like other questions for me? Because I can go into those if needed. If not, someone else can speak up. I don't know if anyone's here though, actually. Make it gay. Because AZ isn't here. I guess my question is Mouth here? So move it to chapter 2. Yeah, I think that would be a good thing to move to chapter 2. I'm pledging to do AZ's last because AZ always gets to go very first. What about Ethan? What do you think of Haley? What about Ethan? What did you think of Haley too? Ethan. Um, Ethan didn't leave much of an impression on me, I'll be honest. Um, so I think he needs to be fleshed out a little more. And Haley just seemed like a very like caring person. And seemed like a very voice of reason type character. I think I'll just be like talking to myself with these last ones. So please keep me company, guys. It's always hard to do them without someone to bounce off of. Oh my god, it's almost 9 o'clock. Okay, I need to hurry up. I mean, he doesn't have to immediately come off as like a super strong character. Like if he shows up more, like you'll have time to develop him. I'm just gonna get into... Okay, I think I'm good. I'm gonna set an outline because I'm so bad at them. Don't worry, I'm the same way. I hate outlining. Alright, okay, I'm gonna move on to mouths because it's time. Alright, mouth, you had questions. Definitely want to critique on the outline as well as the theme. I'm having trouble figuring out what type of personality I want the main character to have. I'm not sure how to come across get information across an entertaining way. I'm worried that the setup is a bit muddled. I'm also not sure if it's funny or entertaining. My last script, it felt like it was boring because there wasn't enough conflict or jokes. So I tried to include a bit more of both, but I'm not sure if they're landing. Okay. So I read all of it like a good lad. I can tell that you like my writing. I feel the influences. I feel the Bones McKay influences in the way you write. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Right. I really liked how this story opened up, like the first draft that I read, the current version. Like I liked the TV commercial opening. Like I thought that was very cute. Oh yes, and this is supposed to be a 40-page comic, so I'm also keeping that in mind. Gotta remember that. Okay. Yeah, I liked how that all came across. It was very visual. Like it was very like just reading the script, I can visualize it, which I feel like is great for a comic script. Is like, oh man, I can see it. You know? Like I don't know. It's good for comics to be visual. I like the setup. I like the idea. Sorry. I like kind of the plot you're working with here. I think it's gonna be fun. And I like your humor. Right. So I love demon possession. It looks all very interesting. My pal. Where are you going, Serena? Illegal dog running away. Right. I think my first criticism is if you're going for a 40-page story, you're not starting it in a way that is conducive to a 40-page story. Like I think you can get away with the TV ad section because I think that's really cute and I think it's a good way to like set up both the world and I guess it's just setting up the world and plot maybe. I think that's cool. I think it probably sets up your theme. I don't know your theme. I have a feeling it has something to do with companies something something in that genre of thing. And I think that fits it and I think you can really explore that more. I think the issue is starting with the job interview because you're starting your story up with this job interview where you have very few pages to do this. So like I feel like it's kind of a waste of time and like not a good setup for the story that you are going to tell. Like I would skip that and go straight to um the angel. Wait, not the angel. Sorry. Can't remember the character's name. There's so many characters. Four here? Is it four here? Cherubim? Oh no, there's oh no. Sorry. It's too many cherubs. Um Cherubim. Located your inlet for here. Oh, it's fo here? Fo here? For here? For here? For here? Okay. Anyways, I think your main. Where was it? Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think you should start it right when they are going on this mission down to the barbecue. I think you should just start there because that's where the bulk of your story is happening. That's where all of your main characters are going to be. I think it would be more conducive if you want to include this scene. I think it would work great as interspliced backstory dropping type thing, like explaining how they got into the situation that they are in now, but do it later. I don't think the logistics of how they got to the situation is all that important for telling this story. Like I think you have a lot of worlds set up, and I'm gonna say that you are setting up too much for a small story that you don't necessarily need. I think it's great that you have it, but I don't think in order to enjoy the story you need to know every single in and out of things. Um so just start with Angel comes down to help get rid of demons. I don't even need to know how the demons work immediately. All I need to know is there are demons and they do thing and we get rid of them by doing thing. Um and to go with that, when you're writing the commercial scene, I think the issue I had with that scene was that it gets a little too out of character, honestly. Like watching it feels like it was talking to me as the audience, and it doesn't make sense within the world because I imagine that in this world, also just kind of how you've portrayed it in this world, we under the angels understand what this sword product is for. We I imagine they understand how demons work and they don't need a commercial to like explain it to them, you know? Like we don't see commercials for burgers and be like, as you know, humans require sustenance. Um I mean, I guess that is kind of it, right? Like you're a hungry boy of a burger. But they don't get into the entire nuts and bolts of why humans need to eat food, if that makes sense. And I don't think we need to know that. I think it's important for you to know that as the writer, but I don't think the reader needs to. And I think you're just offloading a little too much information early on, which is not entirely relevant for what you're saying. And also, when you put so much information at the beginning, it makes me think that it's going to be a longer story. That's the tendency every single one of you has. Is you give me so much information and I'd be like, oh, okay, so this is a 5,000 page comic. And you're like, no, it's 20. And I'm like, okay, roll back a bit. Right. Um, yeah, so that's my opinion on that. Um, humor. I had some opinions on humor. I think that your humor tends towards non sequitur a lot. Um and I think I love the initial kind of non sequitur of things. Like the one that sticks out to me is that he is able to make minute rice in 59 seconds. And I find with your non sequiturs is like they're funny. Um However, I'd like you to like expand on them a bit more. Like I think if you're at the point of putting this in a resume and there's only three things, it becomes a bit of a Chekhov's gun. Like I want to know how his ability to make minute rice in 59 seconds is going to be advantageous for him. And then it's not just a little funny one off. It like is also funny because it is important somehow. I don't know how it is. I would love to see um that talent go to use within your comic. Um and that's kind of how I feel with not a lot. Yeah, a lot of like the non sequiturs. I think I just relate to it cuz early on like I tended towards like tons of non sequiturs and expanding on them, like just take them seriously, I think is fun. Take all the dumb things you say seriously and you'll create beautiful art. The end. That's my story. um I guess since you're not here you can ask me questions later. I'm so lonely, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go to AZ's because I'm alone. AZ, you did good. I liked it. I liked the scene, the initial. I guess it's all of the scenes, right? Like most of them were just of Gil and and old Gil. What are those things called? That are you dads? Gil and his dad, old Gil. Yeah. I liked all of those scenes. I thought those were very strong. Um I I thought it was great that there was like the little touching scene between the two of them and like Rory's pride and stuff shining through. Like I felt warm in my heart, and then I also felt my heart wrenched out when it gets yoinked a few scenes later. Like I think that was very strong, and I liked when you hurt my feelings. Um and I like that you're mean to your characters. I forget what happened in a previous scene, like leading up to Des and Sarah. Um I imagine there was scenes before it. Right now it just felt out of nowhere, but I imagine if it had context within it, it would be pretty good. Like I think it's good tension. Throw that boy out. Get rid of him. Tension, good. I also like that the map thing is coming back in a big way. I like that Harvest Market is read by my dyslexic ass as Harvest Moon. Um, the video game because it's in capitals. Oh, Gilroy, damn it! I'm dying. Ugh, I like that his dad doesn't respect him. I like I like giddy boys in the hay being all disheveled. cute. All of these are blurring together. I'm realizing, like, this is the second one where people are no, is this the third one today where people are waking up hungover? I don't remember. There's a lot of hangovers. Um, my question is, um, what is real? Can I sleep? I don't have anyone to talk to. I like that there was a rooster. I don't have much to say. I'm sorry. I hope you're having a fun vacation after the troubles. I'm excited to read the rest. I think I'm done. I think I'm leaving, okay? You guys can DM me when you have struggles. Goodbye, all 2 viewers. If you can't support me on oh no, I don't know how to end the stream. I just closed my ability to end the stream. No, I'm stuck forever. Okay, go live. I'm assuming that's the button I press. Let me click. Okay, I'm leaving. Thank you. Goodbye. Oh my god.